Welcome back to the channel. We're going to continue in this episode predicting the win totals for every team in the league going division by division. In this division, we have the NFC East. Now, the NFC East is definitely going to be interesting because it's a division that really never repeats as champions, where every team, of course, thinks it's on the verge. But let's be real. Only one of them is going to deliver. You got the Eagles trying to make history and go back-to-back. You have Washington with a sophomore QB and a loaded offense. Dallas is trying to rebuild without bottoming out. And then you have New York doing whatever the opposite of contending is. So let's break down exactly how this is going to play out. And to no one's surprise, at the top of this, I have the Eagles finishing first in the NFC East going 14-3. Look, this team is terrifying. 14-3 last year, a defense that ranked number 1 in DVOA, and Jalen Hurts is entering his prime. Hurts had a top 5 EPA per play. The defense blitzed better than anybody in the league, and they ran over 2,000 yards. They bring back Saquon, they locked up Zach Braun, and they still have Fangio's defense intact. So there's elite continuity in the trenches, and this is a group that knows how to grind teams into submission. Yeah, I know they lost Josh Sweat, Avante Maddox, but the depth moves they made are kind of low-key brilliant. You have Uche and then Ojulari on prove-it deals. And, hey, look, Howie Roseman does what he does. That's smart GM work. These are the kind of rotational rushers that can feast when you've already got pressure coming from the interior. Now, you do have new offensive coordinator Kevin Patolo, as the Eagles lost Kellen Moore last year, who's now the head coach of the Saints. So he has a soft opening and stretch to settle in because the schedule's kind of middle of the pack difficulty-wise. So I'm saying unless injuries hit hard, they're not just favorites to win the East, they're contenders for the NFC 1 seed. This could be the year that Philly gets home field advantage and finally cashes in on a Super Bowl window. Because if you remember last year, they weren't even the number 1 seed. That was the Lions, and the Lions obviously lost to the second team on this list I'm about to mention, and then the Eagles beat them. So the team that upset the Lions last year, coming in second place, is the Washington Commanders. I have them finishing at 11-6. Let's be real. Jayden Daniels had a rookie year for the ages last year. 69% completion, nearly 900 yards rushing, and a top 5 offense in EPA. He brought the dual threat terror and made defense play 11 on 11 every snap. And they doubled down this offseason. They traded for Tunzel at left tackle. They traded for Deebo Samuel in the slot. And they just signed Von Miller for a veteran pass rush juice. And you still got Cliff Kingsbury calling the play. So that offense is probably still going to fly. It might be the most explosive unit in the division if everyone stays upright. But that defense, I mean, my God, it was bad last year. So leaky. It ranked 23rd in DVOA, bottom tier in middle coverage, and you don't fix that overnight. Their linebackers got eaten alive by play action last year, and they struggled to generate consistent pressure without blitzing. Plus, they were 8-1 in one-score games, and that's luck. You can't just bank on repeating that. You don't want to rely on coin flips to carry you into the season. Look, they're good. Don't get it twisted. But if you're projecting a leap, you better brace for some regression too. If you made it this far into the video, you the real MVP. For real. I appreciate you. And if you're a diehard NFL junkie like me, go ahead and hit that subscribe button because I drop NFL content almost daily. I'm talking breakdowns, rants, hot takes, all of that. And if you're a Bears fan like me, well, first off, I am very, very, very sorry because we have been through it. But if you want to suffer together in style, then check out my Bears podcast with my guy Dave. It's called the BFR Podcast, which is short for Bears Film Room. And it is the #1 show for the fans, by the fans, where we have weekly episodes, live shows, special guests, and most importantly, we don't sugarcoat a thing. And if you want to keep up with me, get a little laugh, or even see me smile during Bears games, then make sure to follow me on IG, TikTok, and Twitter at itsfickybaby, which is ITSFICKYBABY. All right, enough of the plug, I get it. Let's get back to the episode. Now, looking at the team coming in third, I have the Dallas Cowboys finishing 8-9. They're limping into 2025 after a 7-2 meltdown. Dak Prescott played the worst ball of his career before his hamstring surgery, and now he's got a new play caller and head coach in Brian Schottenheimer. Gone are Zach Martin and DeMarcus Lawrence, and that's not just talent. You're losing veteran leadership, continuity, football IQ, and now they're plugging holes with the trade for George Pickens, 2 new running backs, and praying that this O-line holds up. Now, let's be honest, Michael Parsons is still that guy, still unsigned though, so we don't know if he's going to be on the team. Oda Jizua, I feel like I always mess up his name, got paid. The defense still has some teeth, but that offense, to be honest, it's fragile, and the margin for error is razor thin. If Dak doesn't bounce back big time, they're stuck in the mud again. Their best case scenario, they steal a couple of wins from the fourth place schedule and flirt with 500. Worst case, another lost year with the reset looming. The clock is ticking on this core, and Jerry Jones knows it. So, finally, in last place, one of the worst teams in the NFL last year. I think it's still going to be one of the worst teams in the NFL this year. I have the New York Giants finishing 4-13. You want to talk about rebuilds? They're throwing Russell Wilson out there as a placeholder while Jackson Dart gets groomed. Their defense is actually getting interesting. Abdul Carter opposite Thibodeau, plus a rebuilt secondary. I mean, their defensive line might be the best in the NFL. Abdul Carter, Thibodeau. You still got Dexter Lawrence. You got some dogs there. And now you have a rebuilt secondary with Adebo and Holland. Like, there's a lot of speed and ball skills finally, but we can't kid ourselves. This offense was dead last in everything last year. Russell Wilson's mobility is shot. Andrew Thomas still isn't healthy, and they're going to take hits, like, literally. The best they can hope for is identifying whether Dart is the guy and letting the defense drag them into a few scrappy wins. Daboll might scheme some magic, but it's basically putting a Band-Aid over a bullet wound. But let's zoom out now and take a big picture of the NFC East and its takeaways. First off, the Eagles are finally in position to break 2-decade repeat champion curse with the best defensive foundation in the league, a top 10 quarterback, a balanced veteran-heavy roster, and they have the highest floor and the clearest path to the postseason. Philly doesn't just control the division, they're firmly in the NFC elite tier. Washington is dangerous, though. Not just in a scrappy underdog way, but legit can go deep if it clicks their way. Jayden Daniels is already a top-tier dual-threat quarterback. The offense is loaded, and their ceiling is as high as anyone. But the defense, that's where things get a little shaky. So if they can clean that up even a little, the team could look to swing the division. Dallas, though, on the other hand, it's living in the in-between. They have pieces like Micah, CD, a few weapons here and there, but they also have major questions. Dak's health, offensive line stability, the coaching transition. They're not bottoming out per se, but they're not climbing the mountaintop either. If things go right, 9 wins. If not, the mediocrity cycle continues. And then you have the Giants, man. This isn't about 2025. This is about finding out who they are and who they can stay. No, about finding out who they are, who can stay, and who has to go. Russell Wilson might be this year, but the real story is Jackson Dart and whether he flashes. Let's be real. Russell Wilson is just a bridge quarterback. The defense does have potential, but the offense needs rebuilt from the ground up. And for Giants fans, it's about patience and development, which is hard to hear as you've basically been bad for 2 seasons now. Altogether, though, this division is Philly's to lose. Washington is the wild card, a volatile team that could explode and unravel. Dallas feels stuck, and the Giants are the Giants. The NFC East may not be the deepest division in football, but it's got some drama, definitely got some talent, and plenty of storylines ready to erupt. So my question is for y'all. Who do you have winning the East? Is it finally Hurts' MVP year? Can Daniels break the sophomore curse, or does Dallas shock the world with a major rebound? Hit the comments and let me know your picks. And while you're at it, rank the quarterbacks in this division. Who's number 1 right now? And if you enjoyed this content, make sure to like and subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on daily NFL videos. And remember, stay sharp, stay dangerous. And I'm out. Peace.